Welcome to the DoubleACS Daily News for June 15, 2015. Attleboro State Representative has been voicing his opposition to standardized testing in schools. Over recent weeks, Paul Heroux has testified before the Joint Committee on Education in favor of legislation that would put a moratorium on the PARCC test. He also testified supporting legislation that would eliminate the use of the MCAS for high school graduation. Mr. Heroux does not believe that current tests are useful for assessing student performance, and he spoke with us about why.
Last week in the Education Committee, there was a bill that was, several bills that were heard to put a moratorium on school testing, standardized testing that is. And we're talking about specifically MCAS and PARCC. The reason that this gets a lot of support is a lot of teachers, they find that they're actually teaching to the test. They have to spend a lot of time teaching to get kids ready for a test as opposed to ready for actual skills and learning and the kind of good old things that we grew up learning. So right now it basically just had its hearing, and it is going to either come out of the Joint Committee on Education, the House and Senate Joint Committee, or not. And if it comes out, then it'll be up to the Speaker whether or not it's put up for a House vote, to see if it's going to pass into law. So there's the moratorium, but then there's also another bill that, which I support as well, that says don't make standardized tests a graduation requirement, because there's something I've heard in the neighborhood of less than 5% of students who complete all the high school requirements but don't complete the standardized test, and so they're not actually given a diploma. They're kind of given a certificate of attendance of some sorts. And so I have a problem with that. If you complete all your high school coursework and your classes and you've passed everything, but then you're not given a diploma because you didn't pass a standardized test, I think a lot of people would have a problem with that. That bill was also heard in committee last week. They were heard at the same time, and we are basically waiting to see what's going to happen with the Joint Committee on Education, if they're going to push it out of committee or not. So that'll take several weeks, maybe even months to determine.
The construction of the new Attleboro DPW garage is making progress. The new building on Lamb Street will provide the DPW with modernized equipment and allow for the current yard to be demolished to pave the way for the new Riverfront Drive. Interim Superintendent of Public Works Ron Dubuque spoke with us about the construction progress.
I'd like to give you a little update on our Lamb Street project. This is where our new DPW facility will be, that will house all of our equipment, all our repair work, and we'll have some offices here. Behind me here is our new fuel depot. We have two 10,000-gallon underground storage tanks, they're double-wall fiberglass tanks, one for diesel and the other for gasoline. We have a new utility building that houses everything from all the leak detection to the fire suppression system here. We also have the city's fiber optic that comes in here, so that when we do our fuel management from this facility, we'll be able to do it back at our home office. Some of the funding for this was some transportation money for displacing us from the Wall Street. So that's basically where most of the funding comes from. We have a new building that the city will be funding through a bond, and that's the extent of why we're doing this. And we have this site that we cleaned up environmentally. Keep in mind, this was an old site that had a mill building that burned down back in the 80s, and we've done quite a bit of environmental cleanup here. So we're reusing some of the brownfields and some of the land that the city owns. And if you had a map of Attleboro and you threw a dot right in the middle of Attleboro, it would hit this site. So it is centrally located, I can say that. So it'll be a state-of-the-art facility. It's going to function so much better than the existing facility, and we're looking forward to housing the Highway Department here on Lamb Street.
That's it for today's update. For DoubleACS News, I'm Austin Ricketts.